Shop Talk, baby. This is the show where it's okay to be you. We're talking from Yale to jail and from the church house to the pimp house. Nothing's excluded on Shop Talk. So if you don't have a phone, I suggest you borrow one. Call in and voice your opinion live every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Yeah, that's right, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Don't forget to Shop Talk with your girl, because right here, we keeps it real. Good morning to you lovely people. What's going on?
Oh, good morning. Nothing much. Just the same old thing. Just trying to stay above water. But it's a lovely Saturday, even though it's raining.
Is it raining?
Yes, it's sprinkling out here.
I
guess we're getting the rain that we didn't get in April.
Probably so. Look, would you say, yeah, all of it?
All of it. Yesterday, I was like, did it ever stop yesterday?
Yeah, off and on. It rained off and on yesterday.
Okay. I didn't even know. Look, I'm like, I didn't even know. Well, let's just jump right into it. All right, lovely people?
Recording in progress.
You ready?
I'm ready. You ready? Rugal
is not here today. Today we have Ron Shedd, the school board president, is on. Yes, Rugal is out today. So I'm happy to have you, Ron. We want to know what's really going on with regaining control and all that good stuff.
Great to be here. Great to answer any questions you have. Willing to share.
That's what we like.
Because if you just let me go, I'll just keep on talking. So
that's all right. A lot of people want to know. A lot of people want to know. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, these are exciting times.
So there we go. Look, I'm like, so there we go. I'm excited about it. Now, let's just jump right into, you got to do this real quick. I know it's going to be a little complicated of what happened and where we are now.
Basically, around 2014, 2015, Governor Kasich had formed an alliance with some people here where they did business behind the community's back to come up with a plan to take away local control of our district, even when the district was already under state control for academics. And so this, what they called themselves was the kitchen cabinet, and they were basically, they didn't involve any community individuals, and they came up with this really draconian law that would pretty much that would punish districts instead of giving them the support they needed. And with this when this happened, how it was designed, it was just pretty much like, hey, this is to kill, steal, and destroy public school systems. And it wasn't just going to be a Youngstown thing, as what it was doing would saturate throughout through a lot of school districts throughout Ohio. Sometimes those that are more affluent wouldn't have this particular issue. But the piece here was that the legislation was really favoring going to, I think, Ohio making a shift to say, well, if we have school districts that are problematic, then what we'll do is we'll make those communities charter schools. So people might say, well, what's wrong with that? Well, what's wrong with that is that they're not held to the same standard as public schools. What's wrong with that is that they have no stake in your community, and once things dry up or they're not as profitable as they thought they would be, they would leave. What's wrong with that is that you don't have to be a teacher by training to teach in a classroom. Now, I'm not saying that all those type of schools do badly. We have one that has done well, but that's out of 14 other schools. Those other ones have performed worse than the public school district. So And then there's another issue with vouchers, right? Vouchers are where you can, if the school's not doing that well, you can opt to go to another school district if they accept you, is how that works. So we had a lot of people who, they left for whatever reasons and that sort of thing. But what happens is when you have a community where you should be educating about 11,000 students, now you're only educating about 5,400, maybe less than that. Well, yeah, I would say about 5,200. And that's a problem, because what we want to avoid are things that come about through systemic racism. And I know this is a lot, but the point is like sometimes you send your child to another school district, but are they getting AP courses? Are they being given the opportunity? For example, every student that graduates in Youngstown City Schools who has over 2.0 gets a scholarship to Eastern Gateway or Youngstown State University. There's an opportunity for you to get a associate degree when you go to Youngstown Early College, or ran Youngstown Early College. I should clean that up a little bit there. But there's more opportunities here for you than there are actually outside of this district. And that really depends on the needs that the family feels that they want for their child. So what we're trying to do when we fight against a state takeover is that we've seen a lot, especially when HB 70 came into play, we've seen a lot of really great programs removed from the district. Band was removed. I don't know how you do that. Our performing arts was pretty much decimated. I don't know why you would do that. We had 3D printing. They removed that. We had CNC machining. They removed that. Now, if you've ever looked for a job, you can Google CNC machining right now and see how lucrative that profession would be, right? And you get rid of that. They got rid of several supports for the teachers. I mean, when I talk about supports, I'm not just talking about manuals and things like that, but the way the school district was wrapped around helping students. So sometimes we look at wraparound services being those things that happen after school and that sort of thing. But what we had was literacy teams that would come in and actually work with students while they were included in the classroom, so that you could be taught on level. And what you saw prior to the state takeover was that we were moving up in those areas because of that technique. Then they got rid of that. So instead of having those people work directly with students, they had them evaluate the teacher, right? So the whole thing has what we have now is a system that's pretty much focused on professional development for the teacher, but not boots on the ground and help in the classroom. So one of the issues that we have that we need to correct as a community once we have control is, okay, there's about 40 in any given year, there's about 44 to 50 schools that are in comparable size with Youngstown. We have, under state control, been spent the least or second to last in classroom instruction, right? So if a problem is academic, why would the state, by design with the CEO model in charge, put less money in classroom instruction? Like, because everybody else on that list is performing better than we are. So there must be some, I don't even call it a magic bullet, but there must be some correlation between more money in the classroom and better outcomes for students, right? And that's one thing that you get when you get local control is that you want to give the people that you live, we live and work, we live with these teachers, they're in our communities, we see them at the grocery stores and that sort of thing. We know our students, we know the family issues, and we are like, well, hey, we need to support them in real ways, and it's great then when you can find community partners that can do that work, and that's how you want that work to be done in some cases, right? But you want that work to be leveraged. Not every person who you have a partnership with should you have a contract with for income. for an exchange of income. Maybe an exchange of resources, like, hey, you can use our computer labs. You can do that sort of thing. But what you want to do is ensure that there's more money staying in the general fund that can be transitioned into the classroom. Another thing that we want to see happen is really, I talked about the funding piece, but the funding piece is important because property tax and a new thing that the state has done to increase. They increase funding through a fair they call it fair funding school legislation that was in the biennial budget. So it's important. The reason I bring that up is it's important that whatever we do, it be sustainable. So when the CEO model first came into play, before it came into play, we were in a situation where we were right sizing our district through attrition, and if people retired and we didn't need to replace that position, we didn't do it. You know what I mean? And so everything at the executive level was shrinking. Then, first year HB 70, 34 people were hired at $100,000 plus salaries at picking up their retirement, meaning that every person who works in the district is obligated to pay 10% towards their retirement. Well, in these contracts...
Question.
Yeah.
When you say HB 70, is that the state takeover?
Yeah, House Bill 70.
Okay, House
Bill 70.
The amended
House Bill 70.
Okay, and that's when the state took over, and how many people were hired after that?
Well, 34 people at executive levels. And now this is just at the executive level, right? So...
Not in the classroom.
Not in the classroom.
Okay.
Not in the classroom.
I just wanted to be
executive
clear.
and administrative level.
Okay.
You know, and like several degrees of separation from actual work with the student. So the thing that people need to understand, though, is that it was done at $100,000 plus salaries, anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000 plus their benefits, which you got to pay benefits. You know what I mean? I understand that part of it. But the part of it that I didn't understand was why we were paying the 10% for these people's retirement. So if you made $100,000, you would be obligated to pay like $10,000 of your earnings towards your retirement, right? We picked that up, so you're really making $110. Yes, I see it here.
Okay. Why did they feel the need to pay these people $100,000 salaries when we still have these teachers basically not getting that money that they were paying to these people could have been divided between these teachers because listen.
Yeah. You're so right about that. And then on this end is going to be like what they were doing to increase the executive piece. On this end is what was happening with the teachers. Now, remember, I don't know if you all remember Senate Bill 5, but this was around like 2005, 2006, where the state wanted to take away the retirement, I believe, of the police officers, of nurses, or not nurses. I believe it police firefighters. I can't remember. Some other group of people. They like that the state sort of secured their retirement. They wanted to like end that and do some other stuff or whatever. And so there was a repeal of that. So HB 70 was like a microcosm of that for school districts in a sense, where it only did two things. It did like multiple things, but these were like some of the root cause. It took away voters' right to choose who their elected leadership would be. Where in this country would anyone stand for your vote not counting? You not having to say to what direction your community goes in. I mean, like martial law of your school district. You know what I mean? Like, and you know. Then the other thing is there's no accountability for taxpayer dollars. So you don't have to say one thing that the board does that's important in any other school district except for Youngstown, East Cleveland, and Rhine under this law is that you vet what money is being spent on. So for example, our policy was set up to where anything over $5,000 that you wanted to get into, you had to get that approved by the board first, right? So even if the board agreed, the thing was the board knew. And when you know the intention of why money is being spent. But in this model, $100,000, $1 million could be spent without even telling anybody in the community and just doing it. And then that's how you get an unsustainable program, because you have one person who has ultimate authority. And so and to show you this is that the way the legislation is broken out for school districts is that there's a level of there should be a level of synergy between the superintendent and the treasurer, right? But the treasurer doesn't report to the superintendent. Those are the sole employees of the board, and then you might have a business manager or some models or whatever, and that report directly to the board, that sort of thing. But in this case, it's one person who's over that person. So the treasurer was like, hey, I don't like what you're doing with the money. It really wouldn't matter. Like, really, they're putting their job at jeopardy to say something if it was out of place or whatever. But they might just roll with it. You don't know. Because they're like, hey, that's my boss, blah, blah, blah. Instead of their boss being the community, and how are we going to, ensure that these dollars will stay here? So when Youngstown first came under HB 70, we had a $24 million surplus. This was something that was done by your local board because it just ain't the board alone. But the board, the superintendent at that time was Mr. Stola, and then the involvement with the unions to move into. Well, with the teachers union, we moved into our insurance costs were high, but we were able to find insurance that was just as good as ours at a lower rate, and we were able to make that shift and save those dollars. So we were accumulating a surplus. That surplus is important because one thing that we know in this country, until they really make a change with healthcare, is that there's always going to be an increase every year. You can't get around it. So you want to be able to offset that cost, get into be able to have insurance where there's holidays where you can we don't have to pay this month and that kind of stuff. But so a lot of those things were taken into consideration. So another piece I want to talk about when it came to the teachers though too was that I mentioned Senate Bill 5. And being a microcosm of that. So about 2000, I want to say 13, there was some legislation from the state put into play that if teachers who were at retirement didn't retire at a certain time, they would lose a portion of their retirement benefits, right? So they're trying to force people into retirement. But when you force people into retirement who still feel like they got good work to do, and they're doing it, you lose a generation of experience. You know what I mean? So with these people, we had, before HB 70 our teachers had 14 years of experience on average. Now is 6. That was one part of it. The other part was there's the uncertainty of what HB 70 would bring to a district, and you had many teachers leave. So when those teachers left, we would we would have vacancies coming into the summer, people who were like, hey, I'm leaving, of having to replace, and I'm not exaggerating this, anywhere from 90 to 110 people we had to replace annually.
Now, why was that?
Well, because of the uncertainty of the law, how things were being done, supports being removed from the classroom. Basically
for job security.
Well, job security, but I think more or less you're not giving me the tools to be successful.
Okay, now
you know what I'm saying.
Let's talk about when the books, because you know that I would attend those meetings. What about the books being removed from the classroom? I never understood that. Like
I never understood this either. But for some reason, the ADC at that time, and this was around. It could have been. It was going on longer than this. But when we were able to intervene, because what people need to understand was the state was over academics for more than 10 years, right? And it was, and so when when HB 70 was changing, there was a 9-month period of when the board had control, right? Over like just a 9-month period, right?
I found that out at that meeting Hawthorne was at, that there was no books. I was like, what?
Yeah, and so, but the thing is, Hawthorne was here when there was no books, and it was, what they were saying was, well, we don't want to send home books, they won't come back home. They won't come back.
Which was crazy.
We're not giving students homework because if they, homework doesn't come back, that kind of thing. We were going to use the books as a reference in the classroom. That was the thought. So in that period of time.
Pause that. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, how can you just group everyone, just put them in a bowl and say, okay, homework isn't coming back and the books aren't coming back, so you just say, okay, nobody gets it? That was nuts to me. And then you say, well, the parents aren't helping, but the parents would help if a book came home, because it's different. Yeah. It's different math now. I need a book to refer to.
Yeah, I didn't say the parents weren't helping, but
that's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's okay. But I think the thing was, sometimes there's rationales to certain things based off of data, right? So one of the things is, one of the things is that homework is a difficult thing. And when I say difficult, not about the child's ability to be able to do the work, but there have been studies done to say that our houses are people's homes structured in a way where a student can have that quiet time to be able to do that. For example, and this is one of those things where if you're more affluent, your child may have a room, their own separate computer, a desk, all that sort of thing, where they're off to the side doing their thing. But if you're in a situation where you live in a 2-bedroom home and you have 4 kids or whatever like that, then that could create some dynamics to where it may be tough to have that time of focus, right? These are some of the thoughts, not here, but national themes. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Because I'm aware there's other people that are in that the state took over, other cities that the state took
Lorraine
over. So
and East Cleveland.
Right, I'm like, so it wasn't just Youngstown. Now the state took over. They say no books, no homework. Yet this under state control, you give laptops.
This is the thing though. At that point, they didn't even have laptop. That wasn't a thing. So what we did though was, because we started, and this is the thing. Okay, when we had that meeting during that brief time period where we had control over academics, we ordered books for every student. It cost about $60,000, like $57,000.
I remember that.
Not a lot of money, right? When you think of the grand scheme of the whole budget. Not a lot of money, to just boom, everybody has this. But at that meeting, what I was telling the community is that we also need to be one-to-one, which means technology-wise. We have to be able, we can't. Books are great. Books are a great reference. Books age, though, and you need to be able to have, okay, can we have a lesson that has information from the past that's based in the present, right? So, okay, we can look at, let's say we're talking about presidents or something like that, but you have a book that was, issued prior to a president being elected, right? So in this case, let's say somebody may have a government book that doesn't have Trump in there as the president, right? Biden as the president, right? So the thing is, you can get supportive tools from the internet and things like that to be able to have a blended blended resources for your education. But there's also computer skills that students need to have too that can be developed while you have their books as well. You know, and I know this is going to sound old, but word processing, you know what I mean? The ability to be able to use the keyboard and that sort of thing. The ability to be able to use the programs that are out here to make certain projects and things of that nature. So you have to have that technology, even, you know, going as well. So under board leadership, the Cheney Performing Arts program of STEM and Performing Arts, they were awarded iPads for every student, right, in that building. Every student in that building. So this gave us an opportunity to say, well, if we're looking at, you know, this was 12 through I think 6th grade at that time, because we had the early college program over there. You know, you're talking about 1,000 kids roughly, you know, having this equipment. So that takes a lot of brunt off of the district to say, well, we're saving this much. Let's move forward with the rest of the schools and do the same thing. And we had a plan for that. Then the first CEO came in and that plan was removed. Now we're in a situation where we have laptops out of the situation of COVID. And that sort of it was just a tidal wave, but let's just do this real quick. When if we would have been allowed to run our school district from the beginning, we would have already had years ago connectivity issues worked out with families. We'd have been able to have instruction be more solid from the teacher to the student. There would have been a lot of things that we would have been on the brink of really being able to handle this pandemic in a way that our students would have probably, it's hard to say that all of them would have thrived because there are individual issues, but at least there would have been a systemic approach on, hey, everyone's familiar with this. We don't have to go back and we don't have to, like, you know, oh my God, how do we handle this? It would have been more or less, how do we do more to shift or enhance what we're doing or to ensure that students have what they need? So there could have been a lot of kinks worked out early on, but when you have that sole person over the district, they don't have to work collaboratively with the people who know their community.
Okay. Now, you have the public who were saying that, the school board got us, and it's really interesting how they say the present school board got us into this situation, even though we know this has been, I know it's been going.
Yeah, that's people who don't understand the situation. I mean, if you go back to 2007, the school district was under fiscal, it was fiscal emergency, which had the state involved at that time, and from that point, it just never stopped. It just ramped up more and more and more. Nobody who's serving on the board was there at that time. Nobody who was serving on the board was there when the state decided to take over academics. You know, that's not the case. What that is that's this misguided propaganda, you know, to try to make a point, you know, because that's not the case at all. I mean, you know, you can look at the things there, and a lot of times when I ask people, I say, well, can you point to the thing that the school board did what was that action that the school board took that was not in the best interest of children?
Okay.
You know, and so a lot of times we have like the media, we have media input that, and when I say this though, do legislative bodies have arguments? Do legislative bodies not agree? Yes, of course they do. That's how when you have a voting process. You know what I mean? And even if we didn't have, even if there was some dissension, there was still a passage of things that were positive. And a lot of times people need to individualize who those people are. Like if you're like, hey, I hear this person argue a lot. What is the point they're trying to make? Is that point a valid point? You know, or do we have people that are joining up for the board so, they can run for the next position. So, I mean,
that's been ongoing. That's been ongoing.
Yeah, but in our situation, when I got on the board, it was like, hey, my community needs help. This is where I'm at. It's not a position where you go in there and you get paid thousands of dollars. You may make somewhere like $3,500, $3,500 a year, right? And that's on meetings. So you're talking about $125 a meeting. You know what I mean? But the work is more than just that meeting. If you got a school board person that's on there talking about, well, I can use that money, and they ain't willing to do the work. When you have to put in, and I never really did the math on this, but I put in about 20 hours, probably about 25. And I know people are like, you can't be doing 25 to 30 hours, but you are. Especially being in a leadership situation, I would say I'm somewhere between 20 and 25 hours, a week. So if I get $250 a month, and I'm putting in 80 hours a week, this is not about the money. It's not about the money. It's not. I don't even think that's a dollar. What is that? What is that? Is that 24? So I'm basically making $1.03 an hour. You know what I mean? So it's not
about the money.
Yeah, it's not about the money at all. You know what I mean? But it's about standing up for what's right. And what was going on was wrong. So when you got somebody in there, I ain't saying if you do your term and you serve with distinction that you shouldn't aspire to do something else. I'm not saying that. But when you're in the middle of not even starting your first term and you're running for another office, then there's a problem with that. It's a problem when you're in office and you haven't even been in office for a year, but every position that comes available that you're eligible to apply for, you're campaigning for, right? We had a member that did everything, tried to do everything from clerk of courts to president of the United States. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I'm like, so where? How could your focus be here? It can't be.
True.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that people need to understand is that, like, there's been dedicated people like myself on that board that have been fighting for. We've been fighting for you to have the opportunity to be able to pick somebody in November to be on the Board of Education. Had we not fought, you would not have any say-so over your district. There would be a board that would be there, but that board is pretty much the people would have been gathered by the CEO, and then the mayor would have been like, okay, here go 10 people for you to choose from, all people I chose.
Yeah, instead of us.
So if this person has a board that they handpick, what do you think the likelihood is that they're going to go against with his methodology, dog?
True. Now let's.
What voice do you have?
Now let's talk about this. I want to back up just a little bit because word to the curb. Remember, it was an issue when the CEO took over. There is no board, and that kept being said over and over and over again. There is no board. There is no board. But oops, we need some money because it has been exhausted from the previous CEO. So now we have to go to the board that we constantly hear. There is no board. They have no say so. But we got to go to the board for them to okay this levy to be put on the ballot. Now, then it's like, okay, the board wants to know, and you can interrupt me if I'm wrong.
No, go ahead.
The board wants to know what is this money's for, because prior to the CEO taking over the board, how much money was in there?
$24 million surplus. Up to 20. It was like 23.7 million. So I just ran up 24.
So to me, if it had gotten all the way up there, and then all of a sudden you want, hey, we need another levy, I think by rights, it's fair for the public, the board speaking for the public, because you got to remember what they're there for, asking the question, what happened to all of this?
Yeah.
Instead of, okay, let's go ahead and put another levy. And then you would hear, word to the curb. You hear the people from the streets talking. Nyk, the voice of the streets of why. And now it's like, well, why don't the board go ahead and prove that levy? That's what we need. Not knowing all the information prior to them coming.
And so
why don't they do an investigation on the previous CEO?
Well, there has been audits and things like that about what's happened with the money and things of that nature. The state at one point in time with the audit, they said there was an investigation they were doing, but they weren't going to share any of that information with us until.
Why not?
Maybe because loose lips sink ships. I don't know. Maybe because we'll be embarrassed. I don't know. Right? Is this they had that ability to say, yeah, we ain't telling y'all. Right? We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this, but we're gonna do this investigation. We're not telling y'all.
But y'all know where some of that money went. But anyway.
Yeah. So.
Go ahead.
So what ended up happening was, I think people need to really understand this $24 million was spent in this was on top of what the operating budget is. It was spent within 2 years. So what happened was, after the first year of spending, you get a 5-year forecast that's done twice a year, and it shows you the 2 years before, the year you're in, 5 years out. And when you had that 5-year forecast come out, you were like, hey, there's a deficit we're facing in 2022, 2023, 2024, millions of dollars. So when we got to the point of this levy being in place and going into play, there was a deficit that the district was facing of $49.3 million, right? $50 million, right? There was a deficit that we were going to face of that amount, or it would be $29.5 million if the citizens passed the levy. So the thing was, the levy was always, this was a renewal, so it wasn't going to change anything or whatever like that. This wasn't increased money, but the thing was that 2 years prior, you were $24 million strong. Now you're facing a deficit of $50 million contingent upon the levy passing. And what the board wanted was, we wanted a plan that was tied to how monies would be spent, right? So, and how you would make the district sustainable. So so he introduced some information, and the thing was, we were up against the clock. Right, as far as okay, we know the levy is needed. We need to see what this guy is going to do, and we end up putting the levy on there because it ultimately it's the citizens' decision, right?
Right.
Because we are not going to stand in the gap and say, oh well, we're not going to put a levy up. We put a levy up, the citizens decide, and we've seen in other communities where they take our children just because they can't pass a levy. Austintown being one of those. So the levy passed, and we're like, well, you were supposed to be working on this plan. Where's the stuff? So after, and this is, and I'm not. So basically, we're in a situation. The levy's on the ballot. The citizens want to support that. They move forward, right? But the issue still remained, though, that there was no work to truly start to make it systemic. So if you get the money, the money doesn't matter if you're not going to change your spending habit, right? That's just common knowledge. If you give a child an allowance and you give them $5 a week, but they spend $1 every day, but they want money 7 days a week. It don't work, right? Unless you got to stop spending the money, right? Or or at least spend it differently. So in this situation, we haven't seen the changes that would be necessary to have a sustainable model. So one of the things with this state takeover that was put into play is that there has to be a performance audit by the Ohio auditor. What a performance audit is that the auditors come in, they interview people, they look at the function of the school district, and I would imagine they compare that to other school districts and what they have in play. They look for issues of redundancy, and they say, hey, you don't need this position, this one, that one. You might need these ones, whatever. You need to make this right. Now, the only time this actually happens in the school district is when the school district is in fiscal emergency. I mean, that's one of the ways that the state does it for free, right? Other than that, you got to pay for it. It's about $100,000. So we're at a point in this legislation where part of it is that be done, because we testified in front at the state, over this time period, talking about, and not talking about things like, hey, I just feel like this is bad. No, but saying like, look at our budget, look at our 5-year forecast, look at this, look at our grades, look at the performance of students, and you will see that there is a progression. We progressively decline over this time period, and it's not, and that measurement isn't something that, that's data like, well, the board took this measurement and so you can scrutinize their work. This is from the state itself.
Okay, I have to go to commercial. Cool Boys Foundation presents Cigars and Sundresses, August 14, 2021, from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. The entertainment is the Michael Austin Project. Tickets are $75, and that includes one cigar, food, and an open bar all night. Location, Soap Gallery, 117 South Champion Street, Youngstown, Ohio, 44503. You can purchase your tickets via Eventbrite or their website. I was going to say ours. Or their website at www.coolboys, that's KOOLBOIZ foundations.org. Cigars and Sundresses. All right, I have a question for you, Mr. President of the school board. Now that we have fought to regain control, so we're excited. So we get the vote, because I did, and I've said all along that our voice had been removed. What's going on from now on?
Okay, so basically it's like this. I'll give you a timeline of the events, and I'm going to turn to a resource I have here for you.
Okay.
So the way this new law is set up is that it won't take effect technically until 90 days after it's been voted in. That's how things work in Ohio.
Okay.
Okay. So what we're doing currently is that the plan going forward has to be designed by the CEO, ADC, Academic Distress Commission, and your local board and stakeholders. So at this point in time, like coming up this week, I have a meeting with like the three parties I mentioned, those three leaderships, and that's not just for Youngstown, but that's for East Cleveland and LaGrange too. We're all going to be in this meeting to talk about with this how these synergies will work for us to work on this plan. We've asked that there be a party brought in to help facilitate and moderate that planning, just because the plan that was in place before. Then this is the thing, and I know it's going to be a lot of this, but this thing people need to understand is that the plan that was currently in place had no measurable outcomes or annual benchmarks that had to be reached. This plan does. We have to have that. So my thought was, well, if the plan they had before didn't have those things in play, we probably need to bring out someone who can look at this objectively and say, how do we measure these particular things? Now, the other thing that's happening too is that there's been a new report card put into play too, which got bipartisan support. So we have a new report card, which our report card was very much flawed.
You talking about that F that the old CEO was hanging on the refrigerator?
This is he said he would gladly put his F on his refrigerator, and he should, right? But the piece there was that the report card is going to be shaped more off of growth and what you do to help support schools that have barriers, this is a new day coming, not just for Youngstown, but how education is done in Ohio. So you have the new report card, you have the fair funding that's coming through, and you're going to have, and we hope that this happens, especially in our case, support to be able to move our plan forward. So that's an exciting. And so I've seen this newspaper article or something where they said, "Will the board hold themselves as accountable as they did the CEO?" It's like we have no choice. You know what I mean? We have no choice but to hold ourselves accountable because our plan has to have outcomes annually. You know what I'm saying? Our last plan that was made by a CEO was for 10 years. Why are you making the 10-year plan when we're in emergency now? Right? So our thing is 3 years, two 1-year extensions. You got to get it done. When you get it done, you're smooth selling. You're off doing your own thing. You know what I'm saying? We have no option but to succeed.
Okay, we got to wrap this up. Do you have any last words?
Well, I didn't really talk about the timeline, but anyway, by December we have to have a plan submitted, and then that plan has to be approved. Once that plan is approved, then 2022 the board would assume control, and they would be monitored by the benchmarks annually for the next to 2025, and then subsequent years for extension 2027. Wow. So there's a lot of work to be done, and you need to have people that are going to be workers. I mean, like seriously, like if you get somebody in here talking about I'm going to try to lead, I'm going to try to do this. I spend most of my time making plans, working on this issue, collaborating with people who can help be true change agents in our community.
I got a question.
Yes.
How many seats do you have available
that are up for election?
Yeah.
4.
Okay, 4. Okay, and that should be going on in the November. They should be on the November ballot.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you guys look out for the people that are running for school board. You know what? Wait, let me ask you this other question. There were a few that ran before and was elected. Are they still on there, or are they removed now that they reinstated the school? The school.
No, they some of those people had the option of being appointed, but the mayor didn't appoint anybody. Mayor Tito Brown stood in solidarity for what was best with his community, and he's helped us get to. He's helped. What people don't understand is that this movement that was an attack on Youngstown has been a victory, and I can't stress this enough. A victory for public education across Ohio. There hasn't been this ability this quickly for a state to rethink how they look at state takeovers. So I mean this work that we've done with his support and with what he did there will help change the face of where we are going educationally in Ohio, and in a positive way. I see Nick's hands up, but
that was Lorraine, Youngstown, and East Cleveland. Okay.
Yeah. My question is, that state takeover, do you think it was like a dig at especially the schools and black communities? That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah,
they were targeting schools in black communities.
Yeah. Very, very much so. It was an attack, not just on black, but if this law would have been, we fought it to a moratorium where we weren't being able to get out but other school districts weren't going to be able to get in. Then COVID hit, like a moratorium for about a year. In that moratorium, there would have been like 14 other school districts that would have came in there. Columbus was one of them. You know, there were rural communities as well as urban ones. But the connection there was that there are issues that impact education that don't necessarily happen in the building. You know, so when I talk about for all of us, I'm not talking about the 7 school board members. I'm not talking about the ABC. I'm not talking about the CEO. I'm talking about moms and dads. I'm talking about aunts, grandmothers. I'm talking about community organizations. This is our opportunity for everyone to be aligned on one mission, and that mission is to achieve those benchmarks and get our school district back. And by achieving those benchmarks will be tied some to academics, some just to the operation of the district. But the point I'm saying is that if the battle has been won, you know what I mean? The battle has been won, but the treaty needs to be created. you know what I'm saying? And then we need to work as a collaboration to move forward and never look back. Because we have the talent, we definitely have the resources and can add to those resources, and by God, we damn sure got the spirit. So you know what I mean?
Way to go!
So that, you know, that's the thing. So I'm excited about it. You know, so my job over this time period, because I am seeking re-election, but my job over this time period is to ensure that we have a plan in place. So if I'm not here, there's a plan there, you know, and that pathway to local control is there, you know, based off of that plan being implemented. Based off plan having the opportunity to be implemented. But I tell people that everybody in this plan, like, the only thing that matters is the plan. If the plan is approved, everyone needs to work towards that. That's it. You know, work towards that plan. You know, leadership may change, staff may change, this and that sort of thing, but we got to have people who see this as one united way forward, and we have to act to do whatever is needed to support it.
All right.
When is voting in November?
For the first Tuesday, I don't know what date that is. Is that the second? It's the second, I believe.
Good, before I leave, because I leave on the 8th.
All
so
right.
I can vote before I get out of here.
I thank you for coming on, Ronald Chad, and you said you are up for re-election in November.
I am.
All right. Go Ronald Shedd, the president of the school board. I appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
Love to be here. Love talking about this particular thing, and you know, we're really grateful that we're at this point. But at no time are we ready to pop the champagne. Right? You know what I mean? This is not champagne popping time. But, you know, one day it will be. But,
all right, we ain't popping bottles yet.
No bottles being popped, but we're going to work hard. We're going to work hard for that Budweiser, right?
All right. Hey, and you had, what's that, your 25 hours? Look, see, you done put in more than that. You put in a whole hour. Add an hour to that.
Add an hour to it?
Yeah, add an hour to it. We thank you for coming on. Take it easy.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Hey, Nick, you ready for some hot topics?
All right, come on, let's get it.
Let's get it. Jussie Smollett remains innocent. Remember that whole thing where he said it was like a racist act and against gays, with the two guys attacked him, and then the two guys ended up coming forward and saying that was not true, and that he was paid. Well, he remains innocent. What's your thought on that?
At first, I was with him, but then to see that they were his personal trainers,
it was a little suspect.
kind of suspect, but then again, you never know. They may have had something against because he was gay. So it's like, I don't know. I'm still trying to, because that's my boy. I was trying to be on his side. But to find out that they was actually his personal trainers, I was like, wait a minute.
A direct connect.
Why? My thing is, people don't think when you are in a position, you got your career is steady moving up. Don't do nothing stupid to knock yourself back, especially when you are black.
But you know what though? In his defense, how many people did you know get robbed by their friends?
Exactly. So that's why I was like, that's why I'm still straddling the fence with that. Because even though, I said when I found out they were his personal trainers, you definitely got a point there. Too many people have been robbed by their friends, killed by their friends. Like, the police find out, the suspect, there was no break-in, the suspect was let in and things like that. Because we've had too many cases around here like that. The person that got, like, a person that gets raped, sometimes they're raped by somebody they know and trusted, obviously. People that are robbed and killed by somebody they know and trusted. So, yeah, so it's like, that's why I'm straddling the fence. So, I'm like,
Let's get this out here. We play a little Biz Markie. Rest in peace, Biz Markie. Passed away at the age of 57. And everybody know Bismarck. If you don't, I'm going to need for y'all to go ahead and play that music. Just a friend. Boom. It's just like everybody. And it's so crazy because you look like, we know we live to die like a plant. But when it's like everybody at one time, or some people feel like, or celebrity, be like, wait a minute, they weren't supposed to die. What do you mean?
Right.
But yeah, so rest in peace to Biz Markie. Now let's talk about the crazy Karen and Victoria's Secrets. Did you see that?
Girl, listen. Somebody else should have came by and just said, boop, right upside her head, kept right on walking. And that was ridiculous because, listen, she clearly went at that woman, and then as soon as that woman put that camera on her, even though the camera was already on her, she went all of a sudden flip the script. Girl, I need you to up your meds.
Now you know what, and they always refer back to mental health. And she did start crying when she realized the camera was on her. The interesting part to me is that the Victoria's Secret worker started yelling at the person that was assaulted, the victim. And she was like, stop it, stop recording, because she was crying. No, she put her hands on me. That was crazy for me. Now, this is the way that I feel. And I was listening to Funky Dineva, and we both had the same thoughts, He came on before we could on today. But I feel like these crazy Karens, like before it was kind of funny, and fun is, it wasn't right. Like the girl in New York, remember the guy was bird watching and then she talking some craziness. They need a Karen registry, just like they do sexual assault registries.
You know what though? A lot of them have been being charged.
But they need a registry.
Okay.
They need a registry. Like boom, you sit there. They want to move it to a neighborhood. Had them on. Look up the Karen registry. You know what I'm saying? Look at what racial. Most of it's racially influenced. That's the way that I feel. So look on there. Oh, this person did this. I think people need to be held accountable.
And they've been starting to get the Kens too. The Karens and the Kens. They've been starting to get them too.
Put them on a registry, just like they do sexual assault. Put them on a registry. You could go and be like sex offender in my neighborhood. Karens and Kens in my neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Right. And then that way you know what you're dealing with. That's just my thoughts. So, and I don't want to say it is what it is because it's not right.
You're right.
And I think that when you put your hands on me, that's a problem. And I don't know where those balls came from.
And my thing is, they think it's okay for them to swat at us, swing at us, punch, spit, or whatever. But as soon as we go tear their behinds up, I was going to say something, I had to catch myself. Then they want to call the police. Oh, no, don't call the police now. You was Billy Badass enough to run at me, swing at me, spit at me, whatever.
But then they go and want to be the victim. And
exactly. When you get your hand pounded on.
But this is the part that bothers me. The part that bothers me is when there's an issue, and this is just my own viewing and seeing this and experience. You call the police, they want to run to their aid, and they're the person that are the aggressor. They're the aggressor. So it's like, okay, I'm the victim, but you look at me and you treat me as if I'm the aggressor. Just like they did this young lady. So because she has a camera, she's the aggressor? No, you don't want us to have a camera? When she seen the camera, did she want to break down and start crying? Oh no, this is how you act. This is how you act. It's a mess. Real Housewives of Atlanta is having an issue casting for next season.
Don't nobody want to be bothered with some of them houses?
Well, the only ones that we know as of now, and that used to be my show. You know, I love my Ratchet TV. I need a little bit of it. That used to be my show. It's Candy and Kenya that are there. But then I fell off because it was kind of like the same thing. It was give me something good. You know what I mean? And I'm with the Housewives of Potomac. I don't went to Giselle and them. When the Housewives of Potomac came, and always since day one, married to medicine. I like them, but nobody wants to see the
I
same
couldn't be on Housewives of Atlanta because I'd stay Papa Kenya upside her head.
But it's them, and then they're talking about getting Marlo a peach finally, the one that was a friend, and bringing Sheree back. Bring the original cast back. I'll be there.
Leave Marlo off. Wait a minute, Cynthia and Portia leaving?
Portia don't want to come on because she don't want Simon to be the storyline. Heifer, you brought him in this mess. Right. Dating your friend's man or whatever. You did that. And then she don't want other people because you know other women are coming out now. You know, she getting married to him and all these other women are coming out talking about their boo, Simon. So that's that. Now let's talk about this. This happened to Steve Harvey some time ago. Do you remember when there was a letter sent out talking about the staff can't talk to Steve? Yeah, when he was doing his talk show, it was a letter that went around, and the coworkers were kind of upset because they felt like, wait, what? We're not allowed to talk to him now? But, well, Kylie has the same thing. Her workers, Kylie Jenner, you know, her perfume line?
Yeah.
Her workers are banned from even looking at her. But here's the deal, though. Here's the deal with that. I think I understand what they're trying to do. Even Steve, when he was trying to do it, I thought I understood. If it's just like some type of get out of here, move on, peons. If it's that, then that's different. However, I will say, and follow me on this, energy is everything. And if you are getting ready to, like Steve, go on stage, all the energy of all those people coming in, that stuff attach itself to you. And like, even with, I want to say Wendy, the same thing. You take your time. Do you remember even like, you work with me even with the play? I would go off by myself. Y'all was doing y'all thing. Anything I'm doing, y'all do y'all thing, and then I just disappear. Well, I disappear because I have to get my head right. Energy is everything. Not that people will have bad energy, but you don't want that. You don't want that because you got to stay in your zone. And you'll hear me too. I'll be like, wait, I can't do that right now. And it's no offense. It's just I got to stay where I am so I can give the people what give the people what they came for. So,
yeah, but you're different. You weren't like, don't look at me, don't talk to you. You just went off by yourself and you like, wait a minute, I need to focus. That's different. They like, don't talk to me, don't look at what? Bye.
It It is different, especially when you're getting ready to speak to people. When you're getting ready to speak to people, you got to really be in your zone, and you're running back your program in your head or what you're going to talk about, even though you know, and then you do your prayer and you stay in that zone. And then when you come out, boom. But when you come out and you already did your prayer and somebody is talking to you and asking you questions and blah, 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 that's not good.
Okay, I have one quick question on that.
Go ahead.
My thing is, okay, so they put this out, you're not allowed to talk to them, you're not allowed to look at them.
That's
but
crazy.
Then, how would they feel if you do walk by and you know that's your employer, but you don't look at them, you don't speak, you just keep on, and they might be in their feelings one day like, I paid this heifer didn't even acknowledge me or say hi or nothing. So how does that work? You don't want nobody to say nothing to speak to you, but then again, you're paying that person, and if they don't acknowledge you, it's going to be a problem.
Now, that's true. And sometimes they talk to you after. But if you go early enough, then you can go with your, hey, how you doing? I speak to people, though. But you go to your, hey, how are you? Blah, 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 blah. And then you disappear. You just got to disappear.
Right.
And then call it a day and block that door. I don't know. But Kylie feeling like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's what we doing these days. Don't even look at me. Don't even look at me. But I think the manager of that particular factory should have let everybody know ahead of time, because what was happening is they wanted to take pictures and stuff with her.
Oh, okay.
So production was like slowed down because she came. So I think that was pretty much what it was. All right, let's go. Safari allegedly, air quotes for the listening audience, is suing Erica for destroying his property.
I thought this was happily married. What happened to that?
Girl, happily married went out the door because she got upset. She done put paint in his gas tank on his motorcycle.
He should then. He knew she was crazy when he married her.
I feel the same way, but I think that some of this stuff, like she destroyed his shoes, destroyed his clothes. Why? These clothes ain't did nothing to you.
Listen, he knew all she had to do, she didn't want to be bothered, was pack his stuff up and give it to him. Don't destroy it. I
never understood that. I never understood that, though. You're going to destroy somebody's stuff, like throw eggs on it. Go ahead.
I did that before. My ex-husband, he got caught doing something really, really bad. No, for real, real bad. To where I had a phone call at my mother's house, and then they didn't even want to give me information. Okay. So, I did cut up everything. But then, when I got older and realized that was not cute, just pack up their stuff and give it to them. Here you go. This belongs to you. I don't want it in my space. So I've been on both aspects, but everybody knows she crazy. Safari knew she was crazy.
I just think that you need to just move on. Like if I'm unhappy, I'm not going to destroy your stuff. I'm out.
Right. I mean, even if it's in your space, you have the right to pack up somebody. If that stuff is in your space, you have the right to pack his stuff up. But just pack it up. Set it to the side. Tell him your stuff is by the door. Please make sure you come get it or send somebody to get it. That's it. That's all.
By 4:00.
Yeah, exactly. And give them a timeline. But don't destroy it. Because how would you feel if they, and I had to think about, what if it was the shoes on the other foot and I was the one that did what I did. But that right there, that pissed me off because it was the magnitude and it was just a lot. But
have you ever had that done to you?
No.
I have. Let me tell you.
That's why I said I had to look at it from that perspective. What if it happened to me? Yeah, I'm not about to. So I'm just more or less pack it up, put it by the door. Like just pack it up, put it by the door. Come get your stuff.
Now here's how mine went. I was like, done. Okay, it's over. I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
No problem. Deuces, I'm not mad at you. You made your decision. And I believe everybody have decisions. Go ahead and do your thing. And I go outside. Why you get mad and slip my tires to my truck? So I just called. I said, listen, I'm about to press charges. You better fix my tires. And I'm not playing. Because, you had cameras there. I guess they didn't know I had cameras. Surprise. Done. It was fixed. All is well. And it's really interesting how somebody can do you wrong and they get mad at you because you're not upset. Like,
Right.
you do somebody else wrong, so you do me wrong, and you're upset that I didn't respond the way you thought I was going to respond, or
Right.
I'm done. Like, there's nothing to talk about. You made your decision, whatever decision it was a good decision for you. I'm not going to say your decision was bad. It was a good decision for you at that time. I'm out. Deuces.
Right.
Ain't no coming back. I don't believe in that. That's stupid. All right, let's move to the baby. Listen, some kids try to hustle the baby. Did you see that?
I heard
Selling
all
candy bars.
They know they was wrong.
Listen, selling candy bars, $2 a piece. Talk about something. It's $200.
And I thought they were little kids. Nah, they
These
was
teenagers. Listen,
Yeah.
I said $2. Okay. And he made him do some math, didn't he? He said both those boxes together isn't $2. He was like,
No,
how
200.
much? Yeah, 200. And he was like, how much I owe you? And then he still paid for him. But he told him, he said, listen, I was going to do you a solid. But y'all need to learn y'all math. And y'all tried to hustle me. People try to listen. They lost out just because they was trying to hustle somebody.
Right.
I'm
exactly.
like, and they knew darn well they ain't had no 100 candy bars up in there.
Mm-hmm.
It was a mess.
And like they said, he probably would have just gave them. They would have gave him the right answer. He probably would have gave him $200 off the bat if they would have just said no, $68 for both boxes. Nah, they tried to. That's what you get,
right? That's exactly what you get. All right, let's go to the Shop Talk question of the week. It's been a minute. You ready?
Yes. What's going on?
Is it rude to bring your own takeout containers to a cookout? So is it rude for you to take Tupperware to a cookout?
Leave them in your car, and if the person at the cookout say it's okay, then go to your car and get your stuff, but leave it in your car. But see, with my family, they already know the deal, so we don't care. Because a lot of times there be a lot of food left over, and we be like, ain't nobody trying to pack all this stuff in the refrigerator. I ain't got no room in my refrigerator. I don't want all this food. I got what I want, and y'all get the rest. So my family already got that understanding. Bring your stuff with you, because you ain't taking none of my stuff, because y'all don't like the certain stuff. But anybody else, leave your stuff in the car, and if the host says, please take take this food, then you go to your car and get your stuff. So I'm on the fence with that one too. It depends on the host. Put it that way.
So you put you bring yours just in case.
Just in case.
Okay. See, I don't think it's rude either. Actually, I think it's pretty considerate. For the very reason that you gave. For the very reason you gave, because usually people be like, I don't have anything you can take it in, or you can't get my good stuff, because you ain't lying. You do not get the good stuff back.
Mm-mm.
Okay, I ain't mad at you. However, let me put this out here first, though. You do have those that'll take a doggy bag or pack up a plate. I'm going to need for you not to pack up the plate when the line first open.
Girl, my cousin did that 2 years ago at my brother's going away picnic. Listen, didn't bring the kids. They left the kids at the house. But as soon as they was the first ones fixing their plate, and they was taking extra stuff, left took the plates home to my cousin's house, and then came back and fixed another plate for themselves. So they took stuff for the kids, stuff for them, took it to the house and came back and fixed another plate. I was sitting there looking at them like this.
But what about the people there to be like, oh, I couldn't get no baked beans. We was out.
Exactly. I was like, at least, and they did that for my husband's birthday party too. I was like, I was so mad. I was like, listen, let everybody else eat first, but I don't mind y'all feeding the kids. Well, the one was an adult and the other one was a little kid. But I don't, that they respect the plates for, but I don't mind that, but be considerate enough to let everybody else eat first.
Okay, we'll be right back after these messages.
This show has been brought to you by Cool Boy Foundation.
Presents to you Cigars and Sundresses, August 14th from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. at 117 South Champion Street, Youngstown, Ohio, 44503. That's downtown Youngstown. Tickets are $75 each, and that includes one cigar, food, and an open bar all night long. And they are presenting to you the Michael Austin Project. Hope to see you there. For tickets, you can go to their website, which is Cool Boys, that's BOIZ, foundation.org.
All right. Damon Dash. Damon Dash says that, they had the Rockefeller issue.
Mm-hmm.
Damon Dash said that Jay-Z won't let me sell his Rockefeller stake, the stakes that he have in there, and that the judge agrees. So Jay-Z won't let him sell it.
Damon and his sister need to go on somewhere.
That's exactly what I said. Him and Stacey, boy, you already know.
Yeah, listen. Please revoke their black cards. That's all I
Both of them?
Both of them. Both of them. Just revoke their black cards. It's like after he lost Aaliyah, he went crazy. After he lost Aaliyah, he went nuts. And Stacey, I don't know when she went nuts, but yeah, their black card needs to be revoked.
You know what? I think you may have a point.
Yeah, he started
because he was kind of calm. He was kind of calm before. Now he's a little different.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Once she passed away, that kind of like took a big chunk of him, and he just started acting crazy. Because him and his oldest son don't even mesh like that too much. Because I was watching the what is that called? It's the kids, the hip hop legend children, the hip hop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and him and his one son, they beef a lot. They don't get along too much because Damon is off. He off his rocker. He
was supposed to be having a reality show come out. You heard about that? With him and his fiance.
It won't get my attention.
You're not watching?
No.
She's not watching, she said.
I haven't had time to watch any of my Ratchet TV. I stopped watching Ratchet TV a while ago because of the way my work schedules. But yeah, I got to get back on, certain shows now. I understand the practice won't be coming on no more. That was one of my shows. Atlanta Housewives, even Potomac, I've been off of them for a while. But there are certain shows like me, Loving Hip Hop, I would watch those. But I got to get back on my shows. But once I miss a couple and be all off, I'll be like, I don't even want to watch no more. I'll wait till next season.
Right? Okay, one of the viewers actually asked, I guess I didn't say, how Biz Markie passed away at the age of 57. Complications with diabetes.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Yep, complications with diabetes. He's been fighting for more than a year. A year.
Yeah, as two diabetics, we know that that's no joke. And a lot of people just don't do right when they're a diabetic. Me being one of them, I was not doing right. That's why I had elected to, didn't elect, my doctors were all in agreement for me to have the surgery, but then now my crazy behind and gained some of that weight back. I got to work on it to get rid of it. But
so you had what surgery?
Bariatric surgery.
Oh, you
all
had
of my doctors were in agreement because I was taking pills and insulin, and a normal sugar for me was 250. If I got down to the normal range, it was like my sugar dropped down to 30 or 40. I was shaking. At 120, I would be shaking and, like I was about to go in a coma. So at that point, all of my doctors agreed that I needed to get that bariatric surgery. Once I had that surgery, the day I left the hospital, I didn't have to take any more pills. I had no more complications with my blood sugars running high. But now that I've gained some of that weight back, I'm starting to feel a little jittery. It's not as bad, but I got to work on getting that weight down. But when it's to that point where, just like with my brother, he found out he was diabetic, and it was to the point where when he went to the hospital, he found out at the beginning of this year, when he went to the hospital, his blood sugar was 965. The doctors were surprised that he did not pass out in a coma, and he was that close. We made him, my sister-in-law finally broke down and was like, because we had steady been telling him all week long, he was like, call me, I can't see, I got, working, I got the kids with me, and my eyes are blurry, this is going on, that's going on, and I was steady telling him, Brian, you got to go to the doctor. Well, my doctor was appointment on Monday, you can't wait, go to the hospital, he wouldn't listen. Finally, the day before his doctor's appointment, my nephew called me and was like, my mom had to rush my dad to the emergency room, so I had to call her, and she let me know what was going on. My brother did not tell me what his sugar was until like maybe 2 or 3 months ago. Finally told me what it was when he 965. People, that diabetes is no joke. It's no joke. You have to do what you have to do in order to continue to live, to stay in existence on this earth. So it's like, I was, Brian, you guys, and after that, he started doing what he had to do. Get out, walk every morning. He changed it. My sister-in-law went to the hospital after she dropped him off, and he had stayed there in the hospital. She came home and threw everything out of that refrigerator. She was throwing everything out.
Okay.
She was not playing. So it's like, people, complications with diabetes, it's like people just, I just got a little sugar. Honey, it ain't no little sugar, nothing about that. That is serious.
Mm-hmm.
Very serious. Like, and a lot of people don't take it seriously. But then people will be crying over your grave later on. You got to take that serious.
Listen, all you got to do is tell me about my toe. Thank you. They be like, your toe. Oh, I don't want that. I like sandals. That is not the move for me. I know this is the next local topic is, remember we talked about the new restaurant, and you know how we like to try the food at the new restaurant in the area. Mm-hmm. So the new restaurant, for those of you who probably don't know, that we talked about was the takeout. And so we have people who actually went out to the takeout for us, and they gave us their reviews. Y'all know how it is on Shop Talk with Mel. We're going to keep it 100. That's why I love my food connoisseurs, okay? All right. Now, I had the ribs. I enjoyed the ribs. Ribs slam. I didn't have anything else. Here's one review. And we got to next week to finish the reviews, okay? Nick, did you go try it? Did you try anything?
No, I tried another one around the corner.
All right, okay. Well, we're going to do just the takeout only right now. So, hey, Mel, we tried the takeout. The rib tips, mac and cheese, string beans, food was excellent. However, for my listening audience, I got to do the comma sound. The string beans needed some meat, so they like meat in their string beans. But other than that, the food was good in nice portions.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
Especially when they say rib chips, that's my joint right there. Okay, now I got to make it a point to
This is for the takeout. Okay. All right, takeout. They did it. They did it. What'd you say, Nick? You gonna have to do what?
I'm gonna have to make it a point to go to the takeout now, especially now I know they got rib tips. Because not every restaurant that make ribs got good ribs.
All right, and we only comment on the takeout only this week, and we got next week for those who want to join in on the takeout, and then we'll go to our next restaurant in the area. Hey, Nick, who are we featuring this week on the small businesses?
This week on the small business, we are featuring stylish sips and gifts. This is where I got my cute little t-shirt from. It's gold lame, and it says Black Girl Magic, and it's the black woman with a beautiful, you can see the silhouette with the afro and everything. But, yes, it is Sharia Hall Hobbs, designer. Her email is stylishsipsandgifts@gmail.com, and her website is stylishsipsandgifts.bigcartel.com. She has custom wine glasses, gifts, and more. And them wine glasses were so cute that they had last week at the Youngstown Metroplex. For those in the area, there was another small business.
Vendors?
The vendors.
Okay.
And she was one of the vendors there. She's out of Cleveland. And I did let them know about Shop Talk with Mel. And I told, go on Shop Talk with Mel, join the page, and you'll get to see, that's, and I was collecting cards from everybody, so everybody gonna get their turn. But yes, she does custom t-shirts, and those t-shirts were so cute. Those glasses, girl, amazing.
Okay. I gotta ask a question. Because sometimes people be real nice, but their stuff don't be the bomb. But you be like, I'll shout you out. Now it says sips, as in like a wine sip, and gifts.
Yes.
Now, where you got a wine glass? I know you got the shirt.
No, I did not get a wine glass, but there's one I had my eye on. But you can, her website features all the stuff.
Okay, tell us about these wine glasses. Is it blinged out?
Very blinged out.
Can we use them though? Sometimes things be blinged out. You can't even drink out of it because it be so bling.
You can use them. The outside is blinged out. Of course, you just got to make sure when you wash them, you don't want to mess up your bling. But girl, listen.
So we can use it. It's not just for design or decorations.
It's not just for design.
Okay. Now the name of that again is?
It is Stylish Sips and Gifts. And it is stylishsipsandgifts.bigcartel.com is the website. Check Miss Sharia out.
All right, we're gonna check her out. I want to see these wine glasses that you could use. Cause look, that I don't never be careful with. And remember that one? Didn't I give you that one wine glass? It had so much stuff on it. I was like, here you go.
It was painted with the rose and everything.
Yeah, it's very pretty. Were you able to use it? Huh?
Guess who broke it?
Oh, okay, somebody broke it.
The husband. I was like, I'm going to choke you out. It was right, and I just bumped it. You like a gentle bull in a china shop, man.
Oh, it broke. It was really pretty.
It was. I was so mad.
But I didn't think you could like drink out of it. But I guess you could. I don't know. I was just thinking that, I don't know. I was just thinking like maybe, it'd be too pretty like it's decorations.
Yeah, but you want to be pretty while you sipping.
True. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Yes, I do. I want to look good while I'm sipping. That's why I be like,
I look good in my little Christmas gift.
Hey.
Classy, bougie, listen. The classy when I'm drinking my coffee in the morning. The bougie when I'm drinking bougie when I'm drinking my wine, and when I want to take a shot, I'm ratchet. Thank you. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
I use my gift well.
Okay then. Look, you got to come on one day with it.
Yes, exactly.
Look, don't take the shots. I don't even want to see you taking the
Yeah,
shots.
we ain't doing the shot. You know, we want to be
on the
anxious
show
in the afternoon.
Ain't no telling how that's
Either the
gonna
coffee
go.
or the wine.
Yeah, there we go. That's the one. That's the one. Hey, there is no major hot topics going on right now, but all of the people in their lives that I don't care about, like the Courtney and her boyfriend. Just not interested. The people around the world looking for a boyfriend. But they're kind of nervous with this new variant.
Yeah, this is crazy, you know, and I guess they got I guess they're saying that the vaccine or the new batch of vaccine that's coming out is supposed to take care of the new variant as well as the rest of them. That's still not enough to convince me to get the shot just yet.
Now, see, word to the curb is that if you had the vaccine, you should be okay for the new variant. That's what they say. Or you'll hear that there's, you won't get it as bad if you happen to get COVID or the new variant.
With that shot, we've already know and heard stories where people that got the shot, they get really sick afterwards, and a couple people that have died after the shot. We've already got that too. So therefore, when people are still trying to convince you to get the shot, I'm not getting that shot because I want to get it for me and the people around. I'm not getting that shot to satisfy nobody but Nicole, Mignon, Keller, Grace. Period. Point blank in the conversation. I don't want to hear nothing else. I ain't going to argue with nobody else about it. And I'm tired of keep having that same conversation with people. When I get that shot, it's going to be for me. And I'm going to make sure that it's right for me. And I'm not going to have no adverse reactions because of other medicines I take or anything else. I ain't trying to get sick after I take none of that. When I do my research and I feel okay about it, that's when I'm going to take it. And I'm going to need for people that's pro-shot to stop trying to convince me and tell me I'm selfish. No, you selfish for trying to make me see your point of view.
Okay. The views of Nyk the Voice are exactly that. The views of Nyk the Voice and not the views of the other host or employees of Shop Talk with Mel.
Right. Exactly.
Now, you do have those who have been vaccinated. We say vax now. Who have been vaxxed, and they feel as though they're untouchable. And they walk around, they be flipping them cars like a license. Boom. I said, okay, but you still could be a carrier, so you got to remember that. To my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the state of California is shutting down.
Again?
Yeah, I believe
they just open back. Oh, them folks is gonna be acting a fool.
Yeah, that's just to my understanding. It just came back. Let's see. I want to make sure that
it's only a matter of time before Uncle DeWine say, okay, we tried.
Okay, let's see. Will the mask mandate in California come back? 10 counties now strongly recommending the mask mandate. And that is 14 days ago. So I want to make sure I give you guys the accurate information because sometimes let's see, LA County will require masks indoors amid COVID-19 surge. Okay, so it's not the shutdown. It's the mask mandate. I want to make sure I give you guys accurate information, okay? As of, let me see. Yeah, that's what it is. That's of 8 hours ago in California. So they're back to the mask mandate. So people, wear your mask. Did you ever take yours off?
Unfortunately, yeah. I find myself sometimes walking in places and forgetting my mask, and I'll be like, oh, well, forget it. Let me get back to it.
So you just go and walk in like you vaxxed.
Look, I got 3 of them in my car.
Wait, Nick, wait. When you forget your mask, you just act like you vaxxed.
Yeah, I just walk on in, do what I get, and come back out. But nah, I got to remember when I get out this car to grab one of these masks. That's why I keep some in, and I even have I even have a couple in my purse. I could even and be forgetting about it till after I get to the cash register, pay my stuff, and be like, you big dummy, you got one in your purse. So yeah, I got to get back on it because I'm not trying to get sick.
Right. Now that's true. You don't want to get sick at all. So if you feel some type of way, I was talking to a few people that felt some type of way and said that they said that sometimes they feel guilty by going in with a mask. I said that's like peer pressure. Going in, they're the only one in the room with a mask on.
And so what? Because when they first looked in the mandate and everybody was walking around without their mask, I was going to several places and still had my mask on, and people was looking at me like, and I'll be like this, looking at them like this, to keep right on locking. What you looking at? And we all have gotten lax finally at our job. They said, finally, at first, they said we still had to wear our masks even though nobody else come in. But now, none of us were wearing our masks because they said that we didn't have to. It was a personal choice. And so none of us, we all stopped wearing our masks. But me, it don't bother me because I work midnight, so I don't have to. But I want to go start back when, people are checking in. At least put my mask on when they check in and when they go to their room. Because, I only see people, those night owls that are every now and then get up to go smoke or walking to go get some, find something to eat or whatever. But it didn't bother me at night. So, when I was down there by myself doing my work, I would always have it flipped down. And when somebody comes to the desk, I'll flip it back up. I'm going to have to start doing that too because, yeah.
Look, I'm a good one. You had the people that say that they're vaxxed, and I'm like, okay, you do realize that you can still be a carrier. They say yes. I'm like, do you have asthma? They say no. And I spray. Boom. Lysol.
I got to get me another because I always did keep the little cans of Lysol with me.
Listen, and you already know pre-COVID, I'm a germaphobe any old way.
Right.
So
exactly.
I'm like, no, I don't want nothing. Whatever you might have, you might have spit or whatever. I don't know. Can't see those droplets.
Right. Clorox wipes stay in my purse. Always have. Even before this, always have. I always kept a little can of Lysol or 2 cans of Lysol with me. Always have. So yeah, that ain't nothing new. It ain't nothing different. I'm going to keep doing it.
All right, we're coming to the close of the show. Let's do the footnote. Life is about choices. Some we regret, some we're proud of, some will haunt us forever. The message: we are what we choose to be. Graham Brown. All right, lovely people. I truly enjoyed you as I do. Each and every single Saturday, you heard the president of the school board. He said there are 4 seats available. 4 seats available. So if you want to make a change in our community, please do so by running for school board. I do know that there's one person that is running, Tanika Hogan Allison. She's running. Clearly, you have to love your community and love your future because you heard how much the pay was. What was it, Nick? Do you remember what the pay was? 125 a meeting. That's what I caught.
It broke down to $1.03 per hour.
Yes, 3,500, 3,500 a year. What'd you say?
What's her name? Tanika Hogan Allison.
Hogan Allison. Tanika Hogan Allison.
Oh, Hogan. Okay.
Yep, Tanika Hogan Allison. All right. Find you, embrace you, most importantly, always, always love you. Until next week, people. Shop Talk.